Last summer, I pulled just over 95 pounds of ripe tomatoes off 4 plants growing in a single raised bed. And the year before that, with the same varieties in the same bed, I barely cleared 30. The soil was the same. The seeds were the same. The sun was the same. The only thing I changed was how I watered them. And that one shift turned a frustrating, crack-filled, blossom-end-rotted mess into the best tomato harvest I had ever grown. Here's what's going to surprise you. The watering mistake that's almost certainly silently destroying your tomato harvest right now is not underwatering. It's not overwatering either. It's something far more specific. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Most home gardeners water their tomatoes every single day, a little bit at a time, and they think they're doing the right thing. They're not. They're slowly starving the plant, weakening the root system, and setting up nearly every tomato problem you can name, from cracked skins to that ugly black patch under the bottom of the fruit. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I water my tomatoes now, the simple shift that changed everything, and the specific timing, depth, and frequency that turns ordinary plants into producers. And stay with me to the end, because I'm going to share a buried bottle trick I picked up from an old market gardener that delivers water directly to the roots while you sleep, costs almost nothing to set up, and works in any garden bed or container you have. And if you're serious about maximizing your harvest this season, I'll also tell you later about my A to Z garden harvest guide, where I break down exactly how I grow, maintain, and harvest food in the yard from spring through fall. So let me back up and tell you how I figured this out. Because I didn't get here from reading a book. I got here from messing it up for nearly 14 years. For most of my gardening life, I watered my tomatoes the way my grandpa did, and the way most folks on my block still do. Every evening after dinner, I'd walk out with the hose, give each plant what I felt was a generous splash, and call it done. The leaves looked green. Soil on top looked dark. I figured I was being a responsible plant parent. And every single year, by mid-July, I had the same problems. Bottom rot on my aromas, skin splitting on my big beefs, yellowing leaves climbing up the stems, plants that flowered like crazy in June and then just kind of stalled out in August. I blamed the weather. I blamed the variety. I blamed the soil. I bought calcium supplements. I sprayed things. None of it really worked. Then a few summers back, I read a piece of research out of the University of California Cooperative Extension that talked about tomato root depth and how the plant actually takes up water. And it completely reset my thinking. If you've been watering your tomatoes the way I used to, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not failing. You're just doing what almost everyone does. You just haven't been told the part nobody talks about. Here's the part that no one talks about. A mature tomato plant, when grown the right way, can send roots down 2 to 3 feet into the soil. That's not a houseplant. That's a deep-rooted, drought-tolerant fruiting plant that evolved in the arid valleys of South America. Its whole system is designed to hunt for water deep underground. But when you sprinkle a little water on the surface every evening, you're training the roots to stay shallow, right at the top 2 or 3 inches where the moisture is. And shallow roots can't regulate water uptake the way deep roots can. They can't pull calcium efficiently. They dry out the moment the sun hits them. And they make your plant a roller coaster, soaking wet at 6 p.m., bone dry by noon the next day. That swing, that wet, dry cycle, that's the real killer. Blossom end rot isn't usually a calcium deficiency in the soil like most people think. It's almost always a calcium delivery problem caused by inconsistent moisture. Cracked tomatoes are the same story. The fruit grows slowly during a dry stretch. Then the plant gets a sudden gulp of water and the fruit swells faster than the skin can stretch. So it splits. After 3 seasons of testing this, I can tell you the fix is not more water. It's the right water at the right depth on the right rhythm. Once you understand this, every step that follows makes perfect sense. So now let me show you exactly how to do it. First, stop guessing about whether your tomato plant needs water. The top inch of soil tells you almost nothing. It dries out fast in the sun, even when the soil 6 inches down is perfectly moist. So the first habit I want you to build is the finger test, but done correctly. Stick your index finger straight down into the soil about 2 inches away from the main stem and push it in as deep as it'll go, ideally up to the second knuckle, which is roughly 3 to 4 inches. If the soil feels cool and slightly damp, like a wrung out sponge, you do not need to water. If it feels dry and crumbly all the way down, it's time. If it feels soggy and you can squeeze water out, you've already overdone it and you need to back off for a day or two. If you garden in a container or a smaller raised bed, you can also lift the pot or the corner of the bed if it's portable. A well-watered container is heavy. A dry one feels light. After a week of doing this, you'll start to read your tomatoes the way you read the weather. The conventional advice is to water on a schedule. What I've found works better is to water on a condition. The schedule is just a reminder to check, not a command to soak. Now, let me show you how to actually deliver the water once your finger tells you it's time. This is where most people go wrong, and it's the single biggest shift you can make today. Stop watering a little. Start watering a lot, but less often. When I water a mature plant in midsummer, I'm giving it somewhere between 1 and 2 gallons per plant, slowly, right at the base, every 3 to 5 days. Not a splash every night. A deep, deliberate soak twice or maybe 3 times a week. See, here's why that matters. When you put down a full gallon at the base of the plant slowly, the water has time to soak down 12 to 18 inches into the soil. The deep roots get a real drink. And when the surface dries out a day or two later, the roots have to chase the moisture downwards, which makes them deeper, stronger, and far more resilient. You're training your plants to be drought tough instead of drought fragile. Now, the easiest way to do this consistently is with drip irrigation. And I resisted drip irrigation for years. I thought it was complicated, expensive, fussy. I pictured timers, tubing, pressure regulators, leaks everywhere, but it turns out I was completely wrong. My entire setup now takes maybe an hour to lay out each spring, and it changed the health of my tomatoes almost overnight. The reason for this is drip irrigation actually solves 3 huge tomato problems at the same time. First, it waters slowly. That matters more than most gardeners realize. If you blast water from a hose onto dry soil, especially compacted summer soil, a lot of that water never really penetrates deeply. It runs sideways, evaporates, or channels down unevenly. But drip irrigation releases water gradually, which gives the soil time to absorb it evenly all the way down. Second, it keeps the leaves dry, and tomatoes hate being wet overnight. A lot of fungal diseases, early blight, septoria, mildew, they spread much faster when the foliage stays damp for hours at a time. That's why overhead watering can create problems even if the plant technically gets enough moisture. With drip irrigation, the water goes exactly where you want it, the root zone, not the leaves, not the pathways, not the weeds. And third, and this is the underrated part, it keeps moisture levels stable. Remember what we talked about earlier? Tomatoes hate swings, not just drought, swings. Bone dry, then soaking wet, then dry again. See, that inconsistency stresses the plant constantly. Drip irrigation smooths those peaks and valleys out. The plant stays in a calmer, more stable status, and you can actually see the difference in fruit production. By the way, one thing I cover inside my A to Z Garden Harvest ebook is how all these systems connect together. Watering, spacing, pruning, because the biggest harvests usually come from stacking simple habits together instead of chasing miracle products. The setup I use is incredibly simple. I run a 1/2-inch main line down the center of the raised bed, then attach 1/4-inch drip lines to each tomato plant with adjustable emitters. Each emitter is set to drip slowly right near the base of the stem, not directly against it, but a few inches away. That's important because you want the roots to spread outwards and downwards instead of clustering tightly at the stem. Then I connect the whole system to a cheap battery-operated timer at the faucet. That timer might be the best gardening purchase I've ever made, and I'm pretty sure I got it on sale at Home Depot. Consistency beats intention every time. A lot of gardeners know they should water. The problem is life gets busy. You miss a day because it's hot and you're tired. Then the next day you panic and overwater. Then it rains unexpectedly. Then you skip watering for 3 days. That chaos is what tomatoes struggle with. The timer removes emotion from the process. The plants just get what they need on a reliable rhythm. Now, here's the exact schedule I use for mature indeterminate tomatoes growing in raised beds during peak summer heat. And obviously your climate matters here, so think of this as a starting point, not gospel. In mild weather, say low 70s to low 80s Fahrenheit, I usually run the drip system deeply every 4 to 5 days. When the temperatures climb into the upper 80s or 90s, that shifts closer to every 2 or 3 days. But the key is this. I don't shorten the watering time much. I shorten the gap between waterings. That distinction matters. See, you still want a deep soak. You're just adjusting frequency based on heat and evaporation. Young plants haven't built deep roots yet. So for the first week or two after transplanting, I water more frequently with shorter durations while the roots establish. Then I gradually taper off and force those roots deeper. And you can actually watch the transition happen. The plants stop looking delicate, the stems start to thicken, the leaves become darker and more resistant. Growth accelerates. A tomato plant with deep roots behaves differently. It can handle a hot afternoon without collapsing. It recovers faster from heat stress. It keeps setting fruit deeper into the summer and fall. Now, there's another piece to this that almost nobody mentions. And honestly, it's just as important as the watering itself. Mulch. If you're watering deeply but leaving bare soil exposed to direct summer sun, you're fighting physics every single day. Bare soil loses moisture fast. The year I finally got serious about mulching was the year my watering frequency dropped almost in half. I use a thick layer, usually 2 to 4 inches of shredded leaves, straw, or untreated grass clippings around the plants. Alternatively, and I actually really like this method, black plastic mulch works great to help warm up the soil, which is especially useful for me because I live in Ontario. It's a little cooler here. It's more northern climate. Not touching the stem, just surrounding the root zone. The layer of mulch acts as insulation. It slows down evaporation, keeps soil temperature steadier, and prevents the surface from crusting over. Over time, the organic mulches even improve the soil itself as they break down and prevent soil splash from getting up on the leaves and potentially causing disease. When you combine deep watering with mulch, something really interesting happens. The soil starts acting like a reservoir instead of a sponge. Instead of constantly drying out from the top, it stays evenly moist much longer, which means your drip irrigation becomes dramatically more effective. Now, let's talk about one mistake that still trips up experienced gardeners: rain. A lot of people assume that if it rains, the tomatoes are handled. Not necessarily. A quick summer thunderstorm might only wet the top inch or two of soil. Meanwhile, the deeper root zone can still be dry. This is why I always check the soil after rain instead of just assuming. A heavy soaking rain, great. You can skip the irrigation cycle. But a 10-minute sprinkle, your tomatoes still need water tomorrow. And here's the thing I learned the hard way. Wilting does not always mean thirsty. This one might be surprising, but tomatoes will sometimes droop slightly during the hottest part of the afternoon, even while the soil moisture is perfectly fine. It's a heat response, not always a watering emergency. If you panic and flood the soil every time you see afternoon wilt, you can actually create more root stress and oxygen problems underground. That's why the finger test matters more than appearances. Check the soil first, then decide. Now, I promised you the buried bottle trick, and this thing is incredibly effective, especially if you garden in containers, dry climates, or you can't afford a full drip system yet. Here's how it works. Take a large plastic bottle. A 2-liter soda bottle works great, and poke several very small holes around the lower sides. Then bury the bottle beside your tomato plant with the neck sticking out above the soil surface. When you fill the bottle with water, it slowly leaks moisture directly into the deeper root zone over several hours, not just the surface, the deeper soil where you actually want roots to grow. So it's basically a low-budget drip irrigator. And the reason this works so well is because it mimics the exact principle we've been talking about this whole video. Slow, deep, consistent. Now, before we wrap up, I want to give you one final perspective that changed how I think about tomato growing. Most gardeners focus on feeding the plant. Fertilizer, supplements, boosters. But water is what delivers almost everything inside the plant. Calcium, nitrogen, magnesium, potassium. If the watering is inconsistent, the entire transport system inside the tomato plant becomes inconsistent too. That's why fixing your watering often fixes problems people try to solve with products. And honestly, once I understood that, tomato growing got simpler. Deep roots, deep watering, stable moisture, mulch, consistency, that's literally the whole game. And ever since I made this shift, my tomatoes don't just survive summer anymore. They power through it. The harvests got bigger. The fruit got cleaner. The plants stay productive longer into the season. And maybe most importantly, gardening got less stressful because I stopped reacting to problems and started building conditions that prevented them from happening in the first place. So if your tomatoes are cracking, rotting, stalling out, or just underperforming, don't immediately reach for fertilizer or sprays. Look at the watering pattern first. That silent wet to dry cycle is probably doing more damage than you realize. Fix that, and your tomatoes may completely surprise you this year. And if you want the full system I use to grow, harvest, and keep food coming out of the garden for as much of the year as possible, check out my A to Z Garden Harvest ebook linked below as well. It's called Yard Food, and I think you'll find it valuable. How are you watering your tomatoes right now? And have you ever tried drip irrigation before? Because I can tell you from experience, once you switch, it's really hard to go back.